Hey guys, it's Chloe. Okay, this is my second time doing this voiceover because the first time my mic was just super close to my lips and like all you heard was like the whole time and I'm like shit. Yeah, I need a better mic. But anyway, hello. I'm Chloe. I'm 20 and I've been playing The Sims since 2011. I love building houses and I love create a sim, and today I'm building a Roomies house, and I'm saving up money to get like a better system and console and stuff like that to, record videos. So they're going to be a lot better quality, obviously, and even the sound is going to be way better quality. But for now, this is what I have to work with. This is what you guys have to work with, and I hope you like this house. So, a little bit about this house. This house is called Roomies because when I envisioned making it, I envisioned two roommates living together that don't know each other or do know each other, and they are renting a house from a landlord. And yeah, so that's about it. So, I also have the Roomies mod. It's like a roommates mod. So basically the way the mod works, and you guys don't need to download it, I just do it because it makes it more realistic, is you download the roommates mod and you can find a roommate via cell phone. So you get to find a random roommate and you don't control them, but you could choose who you want. I think, like the one that I have at least, it gives you like an option, kind of like when you're adopting a cat or a dog or a child, and you get to choose, and you don't control the roommate and they live with you in your house. And basically they pay you rent every Friday, like $500 or whatever. So this is ideal for anybody who has that mod or anybody that wants to like roleplay. Like you don't even need to have a roommate. You could even have like, two siblings that you really love. You can't choose between them, so you move them into a house together and they're just kind of like both sharing the costs kind of thing. But you could even have like a mom and a dad and their one child. Like you convert one of the bedrooms into like a kid's bedroom, or like even put like two twin beds in there, so like you can even have like a family of 4. But ideally, like for me, when I play, I would basically use this house for my sim. Just graduated high school. She is studying, she's going to college, and basically she wants a roommate to find her own place with, because God knows you don't want to live with your parents when you turn 18, but some of us have to. Anyway, so I did go to college to Florida State University, and I was inspired by the houses there. By the way, this kitchen is totally not going to be the actual kitchen. I'm just putting down like placement because I was trying to figure out like how much space I wanted for the kitchen. I found the layout online and I customized a little bit, but I was really inspired. So it was really weird because I've never like built a house without like a million custom content, and I've never built a house from like the inside out. I always start with the outside and I'm like, meh, whatever's on the inside is left and I'll work with that. But for this, it was really, really important that the layout was good. So I started with the inside and then I just winged everything else. I'm like, all right, I have no idea. Like I didn't even know what I was envisioning. So I basically just built the inside, and then the outside I'm like, alright, now I have to figure out what I'm going to do because I have no idea. I have no idea what I want this to look like. But yeah, going back to the whole inspiration thing, when I went to FSU, there was a bunch of houses there that I took inspiration from for building this house kind of. And a lot of these houses, the college kids rent. They get like a bunch of roommates, they rent a little house, and they share it. And it's usually close to school, sometimes even walking distance. A lot of them are. But yeah, and this was like the same inspiration because like, I do love the apartment buildings in The Sims 4, but there's only so many, and you get tired of like customizing the same apartment or going into the same one and the same space. And some of us just like the idea of like a house and having like a backyard and doing bonfires and stuff like that. So this is perfect for those people. So yeah, the house is like, I envision it to be, the landlord bought it and then he realized that he could convert it into like a college home and then like have kids rent it. So basically it was kind of shitty, but he remodeled it and now he's renting it out to college kids, but it's not like super remodeled. Like, you can tell it's still like an old house, but they basically like did the interior a little bit, they remodeled, and then the exterior they remodeled a little, but it's like a really dark brown color, and it's perfect. Like, it's just enough to where it's not too shitty, where you're like, all right, well, you know, I gave my privileged teen all this stuff and now she has to be by herself in this shitty place. But it's also not super luxurious either. It's like just the right amount of like, hey, this is enough to get you by in college, you know, or even like a small family home, but also be good. And I usually do 2 stories as well. Like, I was gonna do a townhouse, I might still do one of them, but lately it's been so annoying for me to switch up and down between like the 1 story and the 2 stories, and I'm like, you know what, I just want to make this a nice little 1-story house. And yeah, so the house itself is on a larger property, but you could fit it on like a small property, and it's not really big, but it's big enough to where, you know, you can have house parties and there's privacy. And I like that I put the door on the side of the house, like the entrance, because it's not super boring. So landscaping is my thing, but, you know, I try to keep it to like a minimum. I didn't want to do too much because I didn't want this house to look like super done. Like, I didn't want it to look like really luxurious or really fancy. Like, I wanted it to be just enough to where it's nice and cute and livable and you're like, oh my god, like, I love my little place where I'm going to college, but not enough to where it's like, oh my god, like, I spent a fortune trying to make this house look good, you know? So here's like a little plant walkway that I'm putting from the driveway to the front of the house, and I added these cute little like cactus succulents, and I do a lot of resizing in this, so if you download it, and I mean, I haven't downloaded it obviously, but if you do, then basically if things like look whack, like they look too big or small, it's probably a resizing thing, and you just have to click the item and resize it. So you just click shift and then, you know, the parentheses bar up or down, and it will resize it for you. But there's a lot of resizing in the house, like just pretty much plants and the TV, and maybe like a picture frame or 2. So it's not too much, but it's enough to where it's like if something looks whack, then it's not me, it's the resizing. So yeah, this is me just working on the exterior of the house. And like I said, it's shabby, but it's cute. You know, ideally this is probably a good girl's house, but it could work for guys too. It's just a little girly, like on the outside, maybe even a little on the inside. It just tends to favor girls more. But, you know, it's really easy to make it favor boys. And I worked a little bit more in the exterior, a little less in the interior. For 2 reasons. It's the first time ever in 4 years that I have built a Sims 4 house without custom content. I mean, I added like maybe 5 items of custom content, which I will link below, and I'll link the Roomies mod and everything else, my username for the gallery. But basically, yeah, I don't even know what came with the Sims 4. Like, I tried filtering my content when I did the interior to like Sims 4 stuff, and it was so hard because I had no idea what was in the Sims 4. Like, I'm like, damn, there's like nothing. And you would think that after 4 years, and I have a lot of stuff, like I have all the major expansions, I have some stuff packs, but I didn't want to spend too much money because, you know, custom content has got me good. But yeah, I was like, wow, there's like nothing. No wonder I use custom content. But I did the best I could with what I found for Sims 4 stuff. It probably could have been better if I was more familiar with, you know, what exactly came originally in the game, but I barely use it. So yeah, I did the best I could for that. But yeah, this house personally to me just looks so empty because I add so much custom content and so much decorations. But I wanted it to be, you know, a downloadable thing for you guys, because some of you guys don't like custom content, or some of you guys don't like, you know, downloading a bunch of individual stuff for houses. Like, you know what, I can't be bothered spending 10 minutes downloading this stuff. You just want 1 quick link or like 2 quick links, and that's it. And that's kind of how I am. So yeah, I try to make it like a friendly game, so you don't have to download the custom content. There's barely any in here for it to work in your game or to have all this stuff. The only thing I added was like maybe the couches. That's about it. Yeah. So here I am just working on the exterior of the house. And I added a little basketball hoop, you know, it's fun. Definitely a college thing. A little trash can on the side. I'm really glad I didn't forget the trash can or the mailbox. I usually do, and then I just add it later when I'm playing because I'm like, oh, there's like shit all over my house. I should probably do something about that. So yeah, here's me doing the interior. I kind of skipped me spending half an hour trying to figure out what counters I'm going to use for the kitchen, but here's the kitchen. So the entire interior idea of the house is that the landlord added a lot of furniture in it already, just like you would any rental house, you know, that you want already furnished. It comes with like furniture that looks nice but it's kind of shitty, you know, like chairs look really really nice but you sit down and it's kind of plasticky. So, but it still looks really nice, but not like fancy, like just enough to where it's like, wow, this is nice for a college kid's house. So the 2 bedrooms are pretty much identical size-wise, but the layout is different because it's super boring having 2 bedrooms the exact same layout. Like, I would hate that. But they're just different enough to where it's like you can't like really, like, not one of them is bigger or smaller than the other. Like, they're pretty much the same. And they look as nice. Personally, I favor the room that has the purple bed. Not this one. This one has like 2 closets and a bathroom, which is really nice, but I just favor the one that's like a little less out there. It's just as big. I just favor the other one. I don't know. But yeah, this is the one I like. Like, I like the one with like 1 little closet, and then I add a little archway where that door is. I'm going back and forth just coloring. But yeah, so the common area, if you guys don't know what a common area is, basically when you rent an apartment with roommates or a house with roommates, the common area is like the kitchen, the dining room, and the living room, or whatever area you guys share. So the common area I'm doing now, here's the dining room. I'm really glad I did the interior layout of the house because I knew like I have just enough space to do it. Me just recoloring the kitchen a little. So yeah, the kitchen is supposed to be like nice, like it's remodeled, but it's not like super modern, because even though I love super modern, when it comes to me actually playing the game, like having everything modernized, I'm like, wow, this doesn't feel really homey, you know? It doesn't really feel like I'm working towards anything. But the house is like, it's definitely nice, you know? Especially for college kids, like super nice for a college kid. But here's me just resizing the rug, working on the dining room, and I do add some more decorations just to the exterior and interior. So yeah, I made the house pretty neutral on the inside because, let's be honest, you guys are probably going to customize it however you want according to your sim. Like, if your sim is super girly, you're probably going to deck out a room super pink and stuff, or like, if it's a gothic sim, you're going to like do your own stuff. And with seasons, there's so much stuff you guys can do with like holiday stuff. You know, you guys are pretty much going to deck out this house to whatever you want. So like, the most important thing is like the layout of a house, personally, because when I download houses off the gallery, a lot of them look super nice on the outside, and then like the inside, I'm like, you know what, I can't work with this. Like, the outside is great, but like I can't even remodel the interior because the walls are diagonal and they're weird and triangular, and it just feels like really like unplanned. So I really take time when I build my houses so that the interior layout of a house is pretty much good enough to where you don't even have to change the walls or anything, you know? Because like, you're obviously going to change and customize whatever colors you want and, you know, whatever items, but like when it comes to the actual layout of the house, if it's pretty good and you really like it, then you're going to enjoy it, because the whole thing of houses is the layout, right? Because you can add a bunch of nice things, but if your house is one little square box with one room, it's going to suck. So, having said that and gone on that rant, I tried really hard to make the interior of this house really appealing to the eye and also really fair in terms of roomies, you know? Like, both the rooms are pretty much equal in size, and they're both really nice, and they both have carpet, and, you know, the house itself is like a really good party house, and it's not super big, because I tend to favor houses that are smaller. You know, I don't really like huge spaces because it just seems like really empty, and I don't know, I don't like it. I like small spaces when I play The Sims. You know, even if I'm building a big house, like, I generally still tend to make the actual spaces small, even if the house is big. So, you know, you guys can always resize it though if you hate the spacing. But here's me adding some custom content couches. I do change them to black leather couches. I thought the black leather was perfect because it's like, oh yeah, like these black leather couches came with the house. But, you know, your roommates decked it out with some pillows to make it a little more homey. So that was like the idea. So yeah, like the kitchen, the dining room, and the couches, like this all came with the house. And like you guys, you know, when you download it, you can customize it how you like. I was trying to use as little custom content as possible, but I had to do the couches. Like, I could not work with the Sims 4 couches for what I wanted to do with this house. I couldn't. I was like, I cannot. Living room stuff is super important to me. So yeah, here's me adding 2 coffee tables. I thought the 2 coffee tables or end tables were like a way cooler idea than just 1 coffee table, because that's kind of boring, you know, and then having them like a little slanted was like a little more realistic. You guys might hate that look, but personally I think it's cool. I like the 2 little coffee table looks. I haven't done that before in my houses, and I like it. And it's super like rental housey, like in FSU, like if you rent apartments and stuff, it's like a super common thing to see like multiple coffee tables or multiple end tables in your living room. You don't have like a ton of furniture, so they try to give you like a lot of like surface space, which is nice. For the TV, I found like that stand, but it couldn't actually hold a television on it, so I did CTRL 9, which like raises the TV, and then I just resized it. So yeah, if you guys ever want to like raise something that like is sitting on the floor or like needs to be higher or lower, just click CTRL and then 9 or 0 to move it up or down. That's like a really common trick. By the way, this isn't pause or anything. I was just like taking my time because I was texting or something. But yeah, I do that a lot now. Like when I found out that trick, it was like a lifesaver, because there's so much stuff that like is either on the floor or too high up, and I need it to be like a certain, you know, height to work. So I use that all the time, that cheat. So here's me adding some. I'm huge on clutter. It was so hard. This is literally the most empty house I've ever created, partly because, you know, it's supposed to be like a roommate's house, kind of shitty, shabby, but also because, you know, it's the first time like I've ever not like decked out custom content. So it looks really base game-ish, which I like though. You know, like even like now with my creative sim, like I was so obsessed with like IMVU kind of stuff, like making sure that like all my creative sim was like super HD and like super like realistic, and like my creative sim stuff is on point, not gonna lie. But lately I've been favoring a lot of like the Mxims edits, which is like looks more like Sims 4, but it's custom content, but it's like cute, like really kawaii. Yeah, I can't believe I used that word, but I'm Chinese, I'm Asian, so it works. It's whatever. I have an excuse to use it. Don't get me wrong, I love K-pop and like all Korean stuff. It's awesome. Japanese stuff. Alright, so here's me just adding like some paintings in the house. It's so hard really visualizing like what you want in the house, because you want it to like be college-y, but you also want it to be kind of neutral for both parties, you know? Like I really wanted to make the interior feel like this stuff came with the house. You know, even the bedrooms, they're the exact same furniture. Like maybe the color of the bed is different, but like everything else is like pretty much the exact same furniture. Like the end tables and the bed is the same, and the desk and the computer are the same, because, you know, like you have a roommate, you know, you want it to be equal. Like it'd be super boring to play where like your room is super huge and decked out, and then your roommate has like a really tiny room and there's nothing in it. Like it just doesn't really feel like a roommate at that point. It just feels like you're living by yourself, and you just have like this annoying person walking around who like, you know, is living in a really shitty space. So I definitely favor more like equalized spacing and stuff. It just seems more realistic. And this house is a good party house too. Like you have your patio, you have the big backyard, and you have like a small indoor space, so it's really easy to interact with your Sims that come over. And I like it. Oh, by the way, if you guys don't like the beds in the center, you know, you can always move them to the side if you don't want more space in the room, because like I said, I tend to like rooms that are smaller. I like spaces that are smaller in The Sims 4. I think it looks more realistic, and it looks more used up, like the space. But if you guys want more room, you can always rearrange it to however you'd like. But yeah, even like the desk and stuff is super small because, you know, your sim is just renting this place and it already came with furniture. And the furniture is kind of shitty, but it's also nice. It's like just in between, like mediocre. But yeah, I love the succulents outside in the backyard. Like, I really, really like that cactus plant. I actually thought it was custom content, and I was so relieved when it wasn't. Because I'm like, wow, I really want to use this. And I'm like, oh my god, it came with the Sims 4. That's awesome. So I'm really, really glad I got to use that. We're almost nearing the end of the video. We probably have like another like 3 minutes left. But yeah, the bathrooms are the exact same, just a little different layout, but they're the exact same stuff. I didn't make the bathrooms super customized or anything because you guys, you know, you're gonna change it up. Like even the bedrooms, you might keep the same layout, but you'll probably change it up and add your own stuff and your own posters and pictures. So I didn't add a lot of stuff, you know, especially if you're ideally playing 2 Sims in this house or very few Sims, then you have more time to focus on like, you know, them and less about what they're doing. Like you have more time to focus on their rooms and whatever. So I don't know, maybe some of you guys will like the room with the 2 closets and the big bathroom, or maybe some of you will like the room that I like, which is like the smaller bathroom. It's still just as big, total wise, like space wise, but it's just, it looks more college-y to me. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Oh yeah, by the way, I added a cat litter box and a cat feeding station, whatever, because you guys can change it to like a dog too, it doesn't matter. But you know, when I start playing with this house, I want my sim to have a cat, because, you know, it's just her living in the space with a roommate she doesn't really know, so she gets a cat to kind of keep her company. Or maybe your cat's already in the family and she just brought the cat with her to college. There is like a college like mod, by the way. You know, I can link that down below for you guys, but it's basically like where your Sims, it's still like a black hole kind of thing. But instead of getting a job right away, your Sims can be like college students. And then they can go to college and then basically decide what they want to do later. So I downloaded that mod, so that's what I'm going to be doing, like the college mod and the roommates mod. I'll link everything. There's barely any custom content, so if you guys really want those couches or like, you know, want something, I'm pretty sure the couches is like one of the only custom content things I use, but I'll link it down below if you guys want it. Otherwise, you guys can use your Sims 4 stuff. And then make that work too. Like everything will still be the same when you download the house. So yeah. So yeah, here's the house. Here's me just finishing up the kitchen. I added a countertop inside the pantry with some clutter, but you know, you guys can make it useful. You could add a coffee maker, or you can move the microwave there, whatever you guys want, you know. But for the most part, I think the layout is pretty flattering. I'm really happy with the way the layout came out. I'm really happy with the house, and I really like the fact that it's just like, it's perfect to me, you know. It's perfect for what I want to do. Maybe you guys will think it's too small or like too shabby, but I like it, you know, especially like long time Sims players. I feel like we stray a lot from the super luxurious items because, you know, when you first start playing, like, your whole thing is like, yeah, use the really, really nice items and the really big windows and the really huge mansions. But then when you play for a long time, I feel like you favor the more intimate, like, homey feelings more than like the really luxurious item stuff. But I don't know, it could be like a preference thing too. But yeah, for a pretty much Sims 4 strict house, I think it came out pretty good. I think it came out fine. And if you guys want to download it, make sure that when you go to the gallery, you click include custom content, because it does have pillows and couches. So you just go to the bottom, click advanced, include custom content, type in the house name, or type in my username. Everything will be linked for you all. Just me adding some finishing touches, the feeding station. Oh yeah, and then for the kitchen, I added a floor tile because I felt like it needed something. Like, I was sitting here forever trying to find, you know, a rug, and I'm like, you know what, I don't like that. I don't. So I added like a little floor tile just to make it look more separated and more remodeled. But, you know, if you guys don't like it, you can always change it back. So yep, here's me just adding some lighting, finishing the house, and we are done. So here's the Roomies house. Screenshots are unedited because I don't want to catfish you guys. And yeah, succulents in the front, resized car in the front, everything is awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed the house. If you guys want to subscribe to me, go ahead and do that. I'm going to start uploading a bunch of stuff and tutorials for custom content, finding bad custom content, create a sim, more houses, and just basically anything that you want a good layout for. Go ahead and subscribe. Thanks guys, and have a wonderful day.